This next chat is with a lovely couple who met through a shared interest in nature and fell in love and now run a business offering free foraging walks for families, for children, for adults, and they make their own tea and wine. And they're just really interesting, aren't they, Dave?
They're so full of enthusiasm for what they do, which is lovely in itself. Mm-hmm. They do events. I think, they charge for some of them, I think. To find out about the events, have a look on their website, Moonfull, with 2 Ls.co.uk. There's a lot more information on there. But basically, yes, they go foraging on the hillsides in the valley.
Yeah, and they've taught themselves most of the things they know, haven't they? Through research and YouTube videos and books.
And listen to his mum.
Oh, yeah, well, of course, that's always advisable,
It's always wise to listen to your mum.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's really interesting stuff. Dunc does more than this. Besides, he mentions, I think, the Tiny Minds, a band he was in. He also has produced music and apparently is writing a sci-fi novel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, what an interesting chap.
Talented guy, yeah. Yes, and they are called Sherel, not Sherel, as you called her once.
Did I?
You did. And Dunc.
Yeah.
They're just a lovely couple.
Yes.
And we wish them well in their business,
We
their
certainly
enterprise.
do. We certainly do. We're sitting in a lovely little house in Maidenride, me and Viv and Sherel Rutherford and Dunc Foster. What is this we're drinking, Sherel?
So this is a thistle tea with lemon, and Dunc has a little bit of polypore that he's added to his with some turkey tail.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, well, mine tastes splendid. How's yours, Viv?
My thistle tea is lovely, thank you.
Last year's thistles.
Thistle and lemon, yeah.
Yeah, okay, this is great. And this is what you do. You are called Moonfull with 2 Ls. Well, why didn't we start with you, Sherel? You tell us what on earth is this Moonfull thing?
So Dunc and I met back in 2020, and it was the day before national lockdown, and it was also Halloween. So we were out and about with some friends and met each other, and from there onwards we were basically inseparable. And we had our first date at the now Forest Ridge project. So that was some friends of ours who bought some land and wanted to plant trees. And so we were allowed to be outdoors and safely distanced and plant trees and do any sort of permaculture regeneration projects. And we basically just fell in love, and we loved all things nature. And we got back to Maidenride and decided to move in with each other. We began foraging and looked at books, YouTube videos, anything we could get our hands on, and decided that we'd turn it into a bit of a business and do 3 foraging walks, because we couldn't find anything that was free and accessible and encouraged people, experts and newbies, just to get together in nature and then learn about trees, plants and mushrooms, and it just kind of blossomed from there.
That sounds fantastic.
That's lovely. So presumably...
Mix that up with a bit of romance.
Yeah.
I like the sound of
Presumably you both already had an interest in that kind of thing, so meeting each other was...
Yeah.
Just perfect. Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. I've been foraging since I'd moved to the valley, basically. I'd smelt wild garlic for the first time and was amazed that you could eat it, and then from there just finding different plants that you could eat and use as medicine. But when we got together, we really started accelerating our love for it all and taking it a bit more seriously. And it was the first time I'd ever foraged for mushrooms when me and Sherel met. We both were interested in foraging for mushrooms, but we didn't dare, because it's a bit of a scary world if you don't know anything about it. Yeah, but
Yeah.
Anything from magic to deadly,
that's
literally.
it. Yeah, that's it. They say you can always you can try every mushroom once.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
Good little warning.
So how did you
Get into it.
and find out what was dangerous and what was therapeutic?
Well, at first we just started watching YouTube videos. The people had been making them during lockdown, and there was a good one called Wild Food UK, wasn't it? The first one we watched.
Yeah.
And he'd done a whole video on winter mushrooms the year before, I think. So we were watching that, and because we didn't know the mushrooms were available in winter. Really, we've not seen that many in the winter. But we watched this video, and it showed us one type of mushroom called scarlet elf cup, and it's like a small mushroom, and it hangs upwards rather than downwards like that. It's sort of like a little cup shape basically, and it's red inside. And we always thought that red mushrooms are poisonous for a start, but this one was edible. So we looked out for it, and we were just in Manchester where Sherel was living at the time, in Clayton Vale, a big park. It's not known for being the nicest park. There's a lot of rubbish and stuff like that. But we started seeing these little mushrooms everywhere. We spotted a pumpkin, didn't we? And then we saw this pumpkin. We were like, is that a mushroom?
A pumpkin?
Someone had chucked a pumpkin in there for
Oh, right.
Halloween.
As in litter rather than something
yeah.
that was growing.
It wasn't growing, no. And then around it we saw these little red mushrooms, and we were like, that's the scarlet elf cup. So, and then everywhere we looked, we started seeing trails of these little mushrooms. So yeah, we looked them up on the internet because we didn't have books at the time. Just started researching, and then we got some little books like the Collins books there, the little mushroom one. So we just started cross-referencing before we actually tried anything.
Yeah.
Wise.
Yeah. It's sort of a rule we've got. We discover something one year, we'll look into it a bit, and then when it comes around the next season, we'll try it if we're brave enough, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And just have a tiny little taste before, see how that goes, and then maybe just try one half an hour later if nothing happens, and then leave it for the day, and then might put it into a meal the next day if we're all right.
Yeah.
Right. And had you been foraging previously?
No, I had such a sheltered life growing up in Manchester. So my primary school and high school, even at university, just tarmac everywhere and flagstones, no green spaces, no nature classes at all. And so when I got to university, I went to work at a summer camp in New York for some experience, so working with children, and they had a whole wilderness program for the 16-year-olds, and that was getting them out in nature, so bike, hiking, canoeing, and learning about trees and plants and fungi. But when I got back to the UK, I thought this might not be for me, because I don't live in a green countryside. I still live in a city centre. But then when I met Dunc and realised he was interested in it as well, we thought, let's just go for it. Let's get out in nature.
Yeah. And you realised as well that you don't need lush green forests.
Yeah.
You know, they're in like city parks and things.
Absolutely.
You can
Yeah.
get some stuff.
It is nice in the valley when you are surrounded.
Yeah.
You can live in sort of small pockets of urban areas, certainly compared to Manchester. But you are surrounded. I'm looking out of there. I can see sort of the trees going up the hillside and
Rolling
what have you.
hills.
Yeah. Because we came from Liverpool originally, and I mean, you could walk for an hour before you got off the council estate. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, but then after that hour's walk, they turned it into Knowsley Safari Park.
Wow.
So it's quite weird. We walk through council estates and then suddenly you're looking over the fence at lions and things. So life can be a bit weird. So where have you moved from, Dunc?
So from North Derbyshire. So my family, I grew up with my family in Sheffield originally, and then we moved to Matlock in Derbyshire when I was about 10.
So the similarities with the sort of steep-sided, certainly Matlock Baths, anyway, the steep-sided valley.
Similar valley, rolling hills, but a bit less rugged there, a bit more twee, and just less creative there, in my experience when I was there anyway. Once I came here, my dad had moved here originally with his now wife, Jill, and just coming to visit them from Derbyshire, discovered that it was really creative town, and Hebden Bridge and the hole in the wall was open then, and I just used to play guitar everywhere and really enjoyed it for the creativity. And you could start,
was that at the Craig Priestley's open mic night?
It could have been, yeah. Used to do all the open mic nights.
Yeah.
And just moved here because I loved it for the creativity. My brother, we'd both been living in Manchester for a little bit, and then we moved here to make a band and set up a band called Tiny Minds. And
I looked on your website, and the words that jumped out at me, natural winemaking.
Yes.
Which of you is going to tell us about natural winemaking?
Okay, so how do I begin the natural winemaking story? So
I think it was your mum.
Well, yeah, sort of, because we've been foraging and we wanted to know more.
So
about...
where do you forage? Just out of?
Just anywhere really, just.
But mainly
up the
locally
valley.
Around here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I said, we started in Clayton Vale together, but then as soon as we got to the valley, we're just going on walks, and it makes walks really fun, just identifying new plants and fungi and trees and seeing how they change throughout the seasons. But we really wanted to know more about what we could do with the stuff we were foraging, apart from making teas, which is our go-to because it's just a really easy way of getting the medicine and good bacteria inside you. But we wanted to look into winemaking, and we were at my mum's, and she used to make wine with my dad when they met at Leeds Uni, and they said it never used to get out of the demijohn into a bottle, it'd go straight in the glass. But they stopped making it once my brother was born because of the glass airlocks and stuff. They thought it was a bad thing to have around, a bit dangerous. So we were looking at a old Boots winemaking book that she had on the shelves, and looking through the recipes. And I guess because it was a Boots pharmacy book, it involved in the recipes all the products that they would have sold at the Boots pharmacy back in the day. But like every recipe would have different chemical extracts, sachets of chemical extracts like yeast, nutrient, tannins, all extracts, acidifiers and deacidifiers, finings, which can be made out of things like fish glands.
I was going to say, aren't there something to do with fish in finings? Because I was a vegan friend who wouldn't drink certain wines that had that in,
So there was all sorts of these sachets of chemicals and stuff. So we just wanted to make natural country wines basically, and out of the things we were foraging. So straight away, instead of just trying out these recipes and getting all the specialised equipment or getting all these ingredients, we did a load of research, and I looked at how you could get these chemicals and nutrients and compounds out of natural stuff. So we've got our winemaking kit here that we've developed through the process, and so we've got our organic super nutrient, we call it, which is a blend of different ingredients. At first, when we were making the yeast nutrient, which is basically to keep the yeast healthy and happy, because they like a balanced diet basically, not just the sugar that they eat to create alcohol. So with the yeast nutrient, we used to get bananas and raisins, ginger, nettle, foraged nettle, and we'd boil it all up and reduce it until we've got a liquid, and then put that in the wine to feed the yeast. But over time, we've developed more sellable products. So we've got dried organic ingredients, and this now contains carrot, tomato, nettle leaf powder, and lemon peel powder to have everything you need in a yeast nutrient. So then we've got the tannins, and that's basically molecules that help, in nature anyway, they sort of help things grow and regulate the growth of like acorns or leaves or bark and stuff like that. We use it in wine, so it can help the wine age, and it gives it a sort of a bitter backbone for all the flavours to shine through, basically. So we just use dandelion and green tea as our tannins. And we just liked, seeing how we can use just things that we could easily grow or pick ourselves to make really nice wine. And the first batch of wines we made were pretty tasty, weren't they? We made a lot of flower wines. So Sherel had just discovered bloodcurrant flower, which is like a flowering currant. We were on a little walk, weren't we?
Yeah, we were on a little walk. It called out to me. I thought I heard it say hi and then hello. And I turned around and there was this beautiful pink flower just staring at me in a massive bush. And then I looked around and I could see another bush further down, another bush further down, 2 that I had passed. And I said to Dunc, what is this? I had a smell of it and it just hit me like I've never experienced anything like it before. And every foraging walk that we did afterwards, I was looking out for that again. But we realised that it was medicinal, edible, absolutely tasty, and I knew I wanted it in my diet. And once we started making wine out of it, we realised, this is quite an interesting little concept. Let's put this together as a kit. Let's teach other people how to do it as well. And we put the kit together. Everything's dried now rather than having a mulch of that banana and nettle nutrient. And we have a shop online, our Etsy shop, so we're able to sell it as a kit and send it across the UK. And we're able to use it in events. And we've had 9 winemaking experiences over the past couple of years, and then we've got another couple coming up for 2024. And it's such a highlight for us, just teaching everyone what we've learned and sharing some of the forage things that we've found, and
Fantastic.
it's a lot of fun.
So, do your wine foraging excursions go well then? Have you had plenty of interest?
Yeah, lots of interest. We have a combination event now where it's a foraging and wild wine making event, which is outdoors in Mythenroyd. And we've had 5 events, and they've all had 5-star reviews. It makes me so happy just sharing our passion with someone, and them being able to go away and start looking out into nature to see how they can incorporate it in their diet or turn it into a bottle of wine to give to a friend. And just learning about nature the same way that we have.
That's brilliant. So you're not too precious about it and saying,
No.
this is ours, we're not sharing it with anyone else, which is what a lot of businesses do, isn't it? Because they want the business for themselves, but it's great to hear.
So if anyone's listening to this and thinks, I'll give this a go and hopefully fall in love. Just an added bonus.
But not with either of you two.
Anyway, so if anyone's listening to this and they're sort of wondering what to do, obviously they can go on your website.
Yeah, they can go to our website,
which is
Moonfull with 2Ls.co.uk. And on there you can find our shop and all of our events, anything that's coming up for the next couple of years. And you can hire us as a private event because we also travel across the UK as well to host events.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And do you tell people what equipment they'll need if they want to go to get all the stuff with you and they want to make their own wine? Will you sort of fill them in on what kind of equipment they'll need? And
we've simplified it. Yeah, so for the winemaking event, they'll get that box there with their glass jar, the yeast nutrient and tannins, and also we've simplified it so that they pick their ingredients, put it in the jar, and then they've got a wine bottle full of sugar water and tannins water. So they have their ingredients in the jar, they put the whole bottle in and they take that home. It ferments in the jar and then they've got their wine bottles.
Right, so you don't need all the demijohns and tubes and all the rest of it?
No, we wanted to make it as simple as possible and learn from our own mistakes and have a booklet with a step-by-step guide and more details of how to use the jar as well.
Yeah, it's like a little starter experimental kit basically. We use these little 1 litre jars and they've got a valve, so You don't need an airlock. And it's just a good way. We still use them just to experiment with new flavours and things. If we want to try out a new thing, instead of making a whole demijohn or a bucket, we make just a litre, see how that goes, and then we'll make more if it works. So it's always useful. And yeah, we developed all the artwork ourselves and developed a little booklet with all the information about what fermentation is, sanitising, and then step-by-step of how to make a wine using the little kit. But then we also sell the yeast nutrient and tannins mix in a sachet that's already mixed. So if anyone wants to make a demijohn with organic ingredients, because you can't get organic yeast nutrient on the market at all. So
can you not?
The only place you can get it is through
well,
us.
Well done, you two.
Yeah, but we're really encouraging people to forage and make their own. It's a business about teaching and learning and sharing, basically self-organised sharing, we like to call it, just so people can have that knowledge that we've lost from our ancestors about how to use different plants and herbs.
That's brilliant. I'm going to sort of start winding down and saying goodbye, but is there anything else you want to say before we do that? I think we got through most of it.
We've got an event. It's basically forage preserves event at the Old Co-op, and we've got 3 free events that people can join. So I think that's it really. Those 3 events, and then
Are they coming up?
we have 3 free foraging experiences coming up. So you don't need any experience yourself to come along. We will take you on a walk with flashcards. We've got foraging bingo for the kids. You'll be given a booklet so you can write any notes in there as well, and a compostable pen. And we also have a foraged preserves event at the Old Co-op in Todmorden, also known as the Kindness Hub.
That's fantastic.
Can I say one more thing as well?
Yeah, sure.
Just that we do these bespoke nature trails and wild tales for nature reserves. We were asked to do it in the first place, and then we started developing the idea so we can do it anywhere in the UK, and it's sort of story based, so we tailor the story of the trail to whatever sort of nature reserve, the landscape and the stories that already exist within the landscape there. And these plaques around what we've created, I've painted these, and it's sort of like a treasure hunt around the reserves, and we talk about the medicinal properties of the plants and all the good stuff, basically.
That's great. Well, thanks a lot, both of you. It's really fascinating. And as I said, the reason we started doing these podcasts is because we live in a valley, awash with, as you said before, Dunc, creativity and imaginative people, and you're up there with with the imaginative people. So thanks a lot. And just a reminder, it is Moonfull with 2 L's.co.uk if you want to find out any more. Thanks a lot.
Thanks both of you. It's been great. Yeah.